Hi everyone, welcome back to Phoenix Awaken podcast. I'm Allison.
Hi everyone, welcome back. I am Jayson.
And today we're actually kind of doing a slightly review on the ELVIS movie. We watched it for Jayson's birthday and it was actually a really good movie.
Yeah, I've been trying to get Allison to watch this movie for quite a while, so we're able to watch it on my birthday. Because I said to her, let's watch ELVIS. I know you're not really into it, but let's do this because I reckon it's going to be a very, very good movie.
Yeah, because Jayson's actually been watching ELVIS. How long have you been watching ELVIS?
12 months. I just become really addicted to ELVIS on YouTube, watching and everything about him and listening to his music because his music's fantastic. He's the king of rock and roll. And I was like, oh, this movie's going to be... It's done by Baz Luhrmann and he's an amazing...
director, yeah, absolutely. And I'm not a big fan. I love the Elvis movies. Don't get me wrong. I love all the Elvis movies, but I'm not into Elvis like you have been into Elvis.
Well, I've never been a big Elvis fan. I mean, I love his music and his life for me is fascinating. Yet, for some reason, I just became like really, I guess, addicted in a way.
You were. Like, to give you guys an example, I would go to bed early because I start earlier than Jayson. So I would go to bed around about 8:30 roughly kind of thing. And Jayson would actually wait until I've gone to bed and then I can hear him listening to Elvis, watching his stories, watching his life story for nearly every single night.
Yeah, it became very strange.
But I thought, you know what? He's got a fascination with Elvis.
And one of my old friends, his stepbrother is a Elvis impersonator.
Yes, that's right.
And this is going back years ago, I went to see his brother impersonate Elvis and it was amazing. It was like Elvis was with him.
Really?
Yeah, it was such an amazing show and he's still doing to this day.
Wow.
It's quite well known now.
Wow.
So that was great. So... if we could do a show one day with this guy, I think you'd be blown away.
That would be really good, actually, just to get his perception on why he chose Elvis, what led him down that path, and if he does feel like that Elvis energy around him. That would be really cool. Yeah, that actually would be really cool.
Well, it's funny because my mate and I, because my mate's clairvoyant as well, and a medium and sort of jazz, and he and I both saw an energy around him. We're thinking maybe that's Elvis channeling through him because it was a pretty wicked show.
Wow.
And there's so many Elvis impersonators out there around the globe.
Yep.
Hundreds, if not thousands.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, so the reason why we decided we wanted to talk about and share our experience with Elvis is not just about a movie review. It is actually quite a funny story because, like I said, I'm not a big Elvis fan. I love the movies. I love them when I was younger. Not really fascinated by his story until we actually watched the movie.
Can I paint the story?
Oh, absolutely.
So it's my birthday. Had an okay day, but night just got really good. So we ordered in Indian.
Yes, we had Indian
food because, we get to choose each other's dinner if we're not going out for dinner. And I twisted Allison's arm to watch Elvis.
Yeah, I'm like, because Jayson could pick up my energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you knew that I wasn't into it, but I thought it's his birthday, his choice.
And I was like, yes, this is going to be a fantastic night. So happy Jayson. So we get set up in front of the big screen TV, hook up the movie through YouTube and start eating Indian food, and the movie starts and the lights are turned down dim. So we've got it's just all splendid, very exciting. And then what happened next, Allison? We started watching.
Within seconds. No joke, like...
Was it really seconds?
It felt like seconds to me. Like as soon as the opening scene started with the Colonel, all of a sudden, I felt like I was pointing at the screen going, he is the bleeping that caused all the issues. And I don't know anything about the storyline.
Because there's not a lot of story about the Colonel.
No.
And what really happened with the relationship, because this movie is really a relationship-based movie with Elvis and the Colonel. So it was a really fascinating story that talked about that, or shared the story about that relationship between these two people.
Yeah, because you would know, because you've been watching Elvis's life story like repeatedly, nearly every single night. And so you would know if there was a storyline between the Colonel and
Not
Elvis.
a lot out there.
Yeah.
Not a lot out there. So this was a very interesting angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah,
to see
it was
watch.
actually very interesting. I found it interesting. But the interesting thing about it for us, besides the movie and the storyline, is the fact that there was actual energy that came through that I picked up and literally went sick at the Colonel.
Yeah, always with Allison, people. It's never a dull moment with her. So we're on the couch and I'm just sitting there watching, and she's like, oh, shit. I've got somebody talking to me about the Colonel and he's not very happy.
But it was more like it was me. It felt like
talking through you.
Talking through me. That's what it felt like. It's like, he's the reason, he's the problem. He is like this, and I can feel the energy or the similar energy now. It's like pointing, he is that problem. He is the reason why all this happened.
Yeah, at the same time, Elvis did continue to choose it.
That is true.
Because he had his mother that passed.
Yeah.
And he really needed to, like in the movie, you've seen the movie, he really needed, and he really trusted the Colonel.
Yeah.
So, and the Colonel became very greedy.
Yeah.
Because we found out that he got 50% of his money that he earned.
Yeah. This is all in the movie though.
This is all in the movie. Yeah. So that was really fascinating to find that out as well. But my perception at that time frame that we had more than just one person come in.
Yeah.
To a point where I cleared the other couch. And said, okay, there you go, guys. Make yourself comfortable. Let's watch the movie together. So it was more than just me and Allison watching the movie. There was a group of us watching it.
But the other part that I got as well, besides someone being really irate at the Colonel, and I didn't know anything about this. There was also an actual scene of Elvis in the International Hotel, and I said to you, I had this real sad feeling because all of a sudden I felt like he was a performing monkey.
Well, that's what I thought you said. You got told, the spirit dude next to you said he was just really a performing monkey.
Yeah, that was the feeling I got because all of a sudden I just felt so sad and I couldn't quite put my finger on it until I got this whole performing monkey thing. Yeah.
And when you said that, I sort of understood where that spirit person, that was talking to you, was coming from, because I was able to see in a way he was. My perception of Elvis, he was here, and what we understand, he was here to share a lot of light with the planet and through his music and make changes and make people happy. But that was also used to really use him as a money harvest machine. And that was really the sad part because Elvis really wanted to travel the world.
Yeah.
He had gigs signed up to, I think it was Japan or different parts of the globe that he was...
Yeah.
Because they said, you've got your own jet, mate. You might as well take it on the road.
Yeah.
But the Colonel signed something on a napkin saying, no, we guarantee you that he'll be here for 5 years or 1,000 shows or whatever.
And we don't know. This is just all hearsay. The question being is that if he actually did go international, would he still have been alive today?
My personal feeling is yes.
Because then at least he would have actually filled that part of his soul.
I've got this rush of energy up my spine at the moment as we're talking about this.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've got a bit of a heart thing going on. It's like, a bit emotional at the moment. So I'll try not to cry, anyone.
That was one of the questions that Jayson did ask. Is it a possibility that if he actually was doing international gigs, he might have actually still been alive to this day?
Yeah. He had a really challenging, amazing life. Unfortunately, he chose the wrong person to help him navigate through his life when it came to his stardom.
But we don't know if anyone else approached him. We just know from the storyline that the Colonel approached him.
Well, we don't know everything.
No.
And you weren't told a lot about that.
No. I just got told that the Colonel's the reason for all the the hoo-ha going on, and then also that he was a performing monkey. Yeah. And that's the reason why we wanted to share this, because I wasn't interested, yet I was the one that got the information.
Because I was just too busy wanting to enjoy the show and the music.
And here comes along Allison.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you were not distant from it, but you were just like, yeah, I'm here for Jayson and watch the show. So you're more able to receive.
Yeah, I wasn't connected to it in any way.
And then we started to get that song he was singing. Was it Caught in a Trap?
Yeah.
And for a week?
Oh, for me, longer.
Was it longer?
Yeah.
Had this song in our heads, Caught in a Trap.
Yeah.
And then we got shown him still on a level, being in the spirit realm or another dimension, still performing at the hotel.
Yeah.
So I tuned in, and this might sound far-fetched, especially if you're Elvis fans out there listening to this podcast. You're going to go, these people are crackers.
I thought you weren't going to mention this.
But I feel like I have to.
Oh, okay.
I do.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I have to.
Okay.
It's come up for me too. So I was showing him on stage being chained up, and this could be symbolic.
It could be symbolic, yeah.
Yep. And his whole entourage of people that helped him with, you know, his shows and his band, etc. I saw him and them all shackled to the stage on another level or another timeline, even though that is past. So I just visualized, pretty much or intentionalized, cutting off all the chains and shackles for him to be free.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't get this song out of my head.
Yeah.
And then we're also saying at the same time, this is maybe a reflection of us.
Yeah.
Being caught in a particular game that we didn't want to be caught up in.
Yeah.
So we're taking it personally for us to be a message as well. So that could be part of the message as well.
And it could also be part of the message for the collective too.
Yeah. A lot of entrapment going on there. I just intentionalized and just visualized the chains coming off everyone on stage. And then they all walked off stage. And then Elvis said to me, "Thank you very much."
In the way that he does.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt relieved, and I felt like, okay, hopefully that is true. And if not, I'm just lost my shit.
But it was interesting because after you did that, I think a few days later, because I kept getting the same song, except the words had changed, and the words went to "I'm out of the trap."
Because we're both singing that as well.
Yeah, but literally, like, instead of it being me forcing the words, it just came to mind, "I'm out of the trap."
That's right, yeah. So it was a very fascinating week and a bit, whatever the time frame was. And the movie was fantastic. I really have a different respect and a different heart space for Elvis Presley. It'd be great if the work that we did do energetically helped free him on that particular level. We were also talking about they're still using the Elvis Presley money machine with all these other Elvis Presleys because there's so many of them around the world still singing his songs to so many people around the globe, which is really beautiful to keep his story alive, but on another level.
I'm just wondering, what if because I'm getting the whole Harry Potter thing with the, you know, the bad guy sharing his soul with different...
the fractalized versions of him.
Yeah, in different objects. I'm just wondering if these other, like all these Elvis impersonators, what if there is a fractalized piece of energy?
Yeah, that's what I was getting to with it. And so you're part of that fractalized version is always still here. So never fully free.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, that's an entanglement all on its own, actually.
That's a lot of entanglement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be interesting to see what you guys think. Leave a comment below what we've been talking about. It's okay if you want to start bagging us or being negative, because we understand, because we've got to let you know that there's a lot of hardcore fans out there to this very day.
Absolutely. And this is just our perception.
Yeah. This is done out of love.
Yeah.
And that's what our experience. And I thought it was a different level of what's been playing out with Elvis Presley. Just like the movie shared its particular different angle.
Yeah.
We're doing it in a way of a behind the scenes, backstage of what we perceived was going on, what we understood as we had spirit coming through on the couches, giving us a little bit of information
Yeah.
and how passionate even they were about what was going on.
Because we didn't know who these spirit forms were that came while we were watching the movie. It's a possibility they could have just been fans with their own perception.
Yes, we spoke about that.
Yeah,
yes.
because we didn't actually tune into who was actually there, except for being fans saying that this is unfair, this is wrong kind of thing. Yeah.
But don't forget, he also played a part and kept on choosing the relationship as well.
Yeah, no, I understand
Yeah.
that, but I'm just saying that from the spirit's perspective, they felt like it was all wrong.
Because it was.
Yeah.
On many, many levels.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. He did, from the movie and the stories, he chose that. And he knew that the Colonel was up to something, but he still got hooked back into it. Yeah, because he could have gone on his own.
Yeah, and he had a big team.
Yeah, he could have gone on his own, but unfortunately he got hooked back into it because of the Star-Spangled Glamour thingy.
And
Sprinkle.
Yeah, and I was just thinking that before. I feel it can be an addictive drug as well. Yeah, and a lot of stars, a lot of people, unless you have a level of ego development, you can easily get caught up in it.
Which is the trap again.
Yeah, caught in the trap. So it's a very, very interesting experience to have, I'd be thinking.
Because in the movie, it portrays him as needing love from the audience.
And I feel that a lot of stars, it's a bit of a rush, my understanding.
Yeah, that's what the kind of perception that we got from the movie is, that he needed love from the audience, which in my understanding is that he wasn't able to actually produce that inner love for himself.
It became more external.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he could only live really
by having that
by
love.
having that energy, love, that being adored and being worshipped as a god, really.
Yeah, and that could also stem from being from his childhood as well.
Yeah, because he was brought up in poverty.
Yeah.
And a lot of people know about what happened with his father and
his mother
and how hard they did it as well. And you'd be wanting to, because I think they said in the movie that he wanted to become, I guess, rich and famous so he could provide for his family, because he had a talent and a gift. And he was able to use that talent and gift to create that wealth to help his family. And then along the way, all these other people that worked for him, he was my understanding, he was very giving, sharing with his wealth and his riches. I got with him, he just wanted to give and give and give. So in a way, he received a lot, but he also gave a lot. So it's a very fascinating story on one person's life as a rich and famous superstar.
Yeah, and that's only a snippet. That movie is only a snippet of his actual life. Yeah,
and all the people that it affected, not just his family and his friends, also the whole globe, the whole planet.
Yeah,
fascinating stuff.
Yeah,
it's just be careful. Popularity can really twist you in a way.
I think that's why inner work is so important. Yeah. To be able to, because I know from my own experiences, to be able to go from needing love outside of you to actually creating your own love within, which can be hard for some people because of either upbringing or whatever trauma has happened to them. It can actually be hard for some people, yet it is so vitally important, because then you're not actually relying on anything outside of you.
But then if that's the case, then maybe you wouldn't need the experience.
Possibly as well.
Yeah,
it's a possibility, because this is all about experience.
I'd love anybody out there that's very popular and quite well known. I don't think they're going to want to tap into our podcast, but
if you do,
if people have had a high level of love or being adored, did it sort of start to corrupt you? Do you know what I'm trying to say? It'd be nice to find out.
Or could you say, did it become more of an addiction?
Because you don't really know until you become
in that.
Yeah. You don't really know.
Like, do you, when it did start happening to you, did you need more of it?
Just like, let's go into people that do YouTube who have 20 million subscribers and considered to be, famous, YouTube fame. How would they cope with that? Because it's not the same as Elvis, but still a level of
It's still a level of fame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And popularity and
Yeah.
being adored and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It'd be really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone who has millions, even thousands of subscribers on YouTube, because I could only assume that they're sent messages all the time. So how do they cope with it?
I've never want to be famous. Never, ever. I want to be a well-known healer or artist and of course to be abundant, because for me, abundance is a level of freedom in this game, but not to the level of being so famous where
you can't walk down the street. Yeah.
You can't go to Coles supermarket. You know, you can't go to anywhere without
people. Because you did say that Michael Jackson also had to have a normal experience, but he had to hire people just so he could go to a cafe or diner or something along those lines?
Yeah, he went to like a supermarket, and the employees that worked for him dressed up as like staff at the supermarket.
Yeah.
So he could have a semi-normal experience. That's crazy.
Because there's one scene in the movie where it's still young Elvis, and he went back to his hometown or home area where he grew up, and literally... And I'm pretty sure this is most likely how it actually happened. The people just flocked to him, and it's almost like in the scene, it was almost like he just needed to get away. But I don't know if it was the right place to get away, kind of thing, because everyone just flocked to him, and no matter which way he turned, there were people there all wanting a piece of him.
Yeah, that would be scary.
Overwhelming.
That'd be scary.
Yeah.
People trying to rip your clothes off and trying to take your hair, and I wouldn't appreciate that at all.
No, I don't think I would want someone ripping my clothes off.
No. No, I don't think anybody really would.
No.
Yeah, that'd be a very overwhelming experience.
Yeah, because you just want to walk down the street and just be.
Yeah, but that says a lot about humanity, though, doesn't it? We're still wanting to worship or put like God figures or perceive people who are not gods per se, but turn him into these God figures. Is that the right way of I'm saying that?
I think,
Can you rectify that?
I think I understand where you're going with this. It's a programming that has happened to society to always worship someone. Instead of society actually understanding that they don't need to, but it's a deep programming in society to always put someone on a pedestal, to worship someone, when in actual fact society just needs to individually know that they need to worship themselves.
Yeah, well, honour themselves, not so much worship, but
honour is a better word than
honour
worship.
Themselves and know that they're enough. And it's nice to have all these people who are sharing inspiration, such as Elvis and Michael Jackson, and stuff. There's thousands. Because
it's different. You can actually go from being a let's say groupie, to be inspired by the person. What is it about that person that you want, and can you create that for yourself? Can that person show you how to create for yourself, pretty much?
So what have you taken from this experience, from this movie?
That all that glitters is not actually gold, and to follow your own path. However, in that time frame, what I discovered in that time frame, obviously back then was it the 70s? The 50s? The 50s. Unfortunately, stars needed managers, and managers controlled the stars. What I've discovered now, especially like for us, creating YouTube, doing all kinds of things, managers actually work for you.
Yeah.
You don't need the manager to promote you. You actually have to promote yourself, and the manager actually works for you. Whereas back then, the roles were reversed. The manager owned the performer, whereas now the performer is the owner of themselves. So what I've taken from that is do it for yourself, pretty much. And if someone is there to help you, ask them how can they help you, but don't divulge your soul to them, pretty much. And remember, glitter is great. I love glitter. I'm wearing glitter right now, but everything that glitters isn't always what it actually is.
No, be careful what you do deals with.
Yeah.
Be careful what you sign.
Yeah.
And try to keep yourself as centered as possible.
Yeah.
Which is probably easier said than done.
Yeah.
from our perspective, because we're not in that fame, fortune, that arena.
No.
So it's easy to say.
It's easy to say even for us, because in order for us to understand that, we would need to go through a similar experience to know, are we still grounded in it?
And I think the big draw card is the money. I don't know if there's anybody that wouldn't do this. I mean, there's people that do this for free or very little money, but if you had opportunity to make a lot of money and become very rich and powerful.
But if you look at Elvis, his initial reasoning was so that his family didn't have to be in poverty anymore. Yeah.
And I feel that a lot of people would start like that.
Yeah.
Because it's very rare for people to, be born into wealth and power.
Yeah.
Yes, it happens. And that's what's running the show. Yet the mainstream collective is coming in with very little.
Yeah.
So to have that given to you.
Yeah.
And you get all of a sudden you're making, $10 million overnight, and hang on for a tick. And then you've got to then go, oh, okay, I've got all this money. I guess it's again like winning tax lotto. How do you manage it?
Yeah, exactly.
For example, a win or massive inheritance, and you've never had that sort of money before.
Yeah.
You would have to learn to manage that and work with that and keep yourself grounded within that.
Yeah.
But with being the artist or the singer or whatever, I feel it'd be a lot. It would happen a lot more quicker, and I think you could get lost within it quicker.
Yeah. Going to the energetics of it, what if that is the experience of majority of people here to come in with nothing so that they could yearn for something, so therefore on an energetic level they are doing deals to be able to receive that something and therefore get entangled and entrapped. But again, I still believe that there's still good energy and you can do it for yourself. I still believe you can create it. But I do wonder if it has all been a game to cause that kind of entanglement.
Because it does become entangled and messy.
Yeah, it does.
And let's say, use Elvis for example, because talking about Elvis Presley, he was used as a new level of a money machine.
Yeah.
To feed like so many people.
Yeah.
And I feel that he was totally exhausted by the end of his career.
Yeah.
Which is sad. And he didn't have the means to be able to pull himself back or to go, okay, I think I need some time out here. I need to do some soul searching. Then that wouldn't be part of his consciousness at that time. So, but you've had some sort of consciousness about you to be able to do that. But saying that, you mightn't have got the experience.
Well, it is very all what if this one, what if that one, because it does come down to the experience. Because like you said, on a conscious level, because a lot of the actions that we take is on a conscious level. If we didn't know about the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, we might have taken action that would have gone against, but we can't say that it might have gone against our soul learning or soul experience, because what if that was the experience?
I've had energies in my head say to me, Jayson, and you've had this too, if you do a deal with us, you can have whatever you want. Because I want to be a well-known artist, and I remember in the cottage, and I was getting, if you do a deal, this is an energetic deal, you can be famous and rich. And I'm like, well, my perception of this is when you do deals, it doesn't work out in your favour. It works out in these parties per se that want to do these deals, and that's when you get pretty much written off. So, and I know that we both understand that there is a lot of people out there that do deal to achieve what they want to achieve, which is sad. But again, that's their experience. So no judgment with that. But I believe it does happen more than not. People will achieve certain things by doing energetic deals.
Yeah.
Some people will say, I've heard people on YouTube say, this artist and that artist done a deal with the devil, and the artists have said that themselves, and they've become rich and famous, but it's not worked out in their favour in the end.
No, because only in this physical reality has it worked out. But in a
degree.
But in the long run, and we're talking energetic long run, has it actually worked out? It might not have worked out for them in the long run.
Well, I'm getting soul trapments then.
Yeah, exactly. That's
because you don't actually know what's really written.
Exactly. So that's what I was talking about, that what if the game in this reality, what is for people to yearn so much, instead of being happy with creating what they want to create, yearning, because that unfortunately, that's where jealousy comes in as well. Jealousy can be like, I want what that person wants. But instead of being inspired, the negative connotation for inspired is jealousy, I believe. So then that's when, because you can have all these movies about the superhero that all of a sudden has she's got a heart of gold. But then you've got the villain who feels like they were overlooked. They didn't get what they wanted. So then they're the ones that are easily chosen, you could say, to go down a path that is not actually beneficial. But then again, like you said, we don't know if this is the experience for that soul.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everybody's got their experiences, their own scripts. They come in to learn lessons.
Yeah.
We still perceive that might not be true.
It might not be true.
We're only going what we've learnt along the way. We don't know everything. It'd be nice to know everything.
I would love to know.
But we're not meant to know everything.
No, because not everyone knows everything. Everyone has their own perception of the cake, own piece of the cake.
Yeah. So it's really interesting, fascinating. We've gone from my birthday to the ELVIS movie to now talking about this. And this is what we do, and this is what we like to do. Where we can talk about a subject and our experiences, and then we try to nut it out and go deeper down the rabbit hole, per se, to perhaps perceive or have a different level of truth, what is going on a level.
Or an understanding of, because when we talk, we have understandings. We come up with ideas, suggestions. We might get insight. And it might just be another piece of the cake.
Yeah. And this is what we do all the time with ourselves, or each other. We chat a lot about different perceptions and different experiences and what could be playing out and what is playing out and what is real and what's not real. Even though probably nothing is real anyway.
Well, that's a whole nother topic that we can... That's a whole nother topic.
So I hope that everyone that watches or listens, this is sort of helped on a level or give you a different perception on our perception or the reality of perception out there. And we are sending lots of love and blessings and healings to Elvis Presley and all the fans out there. We send you lots of love.
And his family.
Lots of love and lots of healing, because I feel like there's still healing to be done. And we much appreciate you listening, watching and tuning in to Phoenix Awaken podcast. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.